Good evening, and we are back for another, well, second to last interview for Women's Month. Now, it's been a long month for those who have been joining us since the 1st of August. It's been a long month, but we are here. We're almost ending off our Women's Month. And if you've never joined us, we really try to really do the impossible, which was to interview a woman every night for the month of August. And I tell you, we've almost got there. We have our 26th lady with us tonight. And so we're gonna hear her journey. But before we get too excited, we're ending off Women's Month and then we will have all the excitement on the 31st. But tonight we wanna introduce, or she will introduce herself, Rumbi. And I'm just gonna end it there. I told her we're ending it off by Rumbi. She will explain the whole name and what it means. So, hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Beyonifer. My name is Rumbidzai. That's the full name. It
Mm,
means praise the Lord or praise God.
mhm,
It's a Shona name from Zimbabwe originally. Um, yeah, I've been in Cape Town for about plus minus 15 years now,
okay.
living on the flats.
Yeah.
Yes.
And let's maybe get into it a little bit. How is it that your journey began? Like, what made you move to South Africa?
Okay, so my journey is quite maybe similar to a lot of foreign women who might
Mhm,
be finding themselves in a foreign country having to start life all over again from scratch.
mhm,
Um, I came because my husband was involved in politics in Zimbabwe, and politics in Zimbabwe is very rough.
okay.
So he had to leave because his life was at stake.
Sure.
So he came first, and then I followed 6 months down the line because I was teaching in another province.
Mhm,
But we I think it was how many years after we got married? It was like 5 years after we got married. So I was teaching in another province, but actually living in another province. So I will travel back and forth from work to my house, and so when he got involved like deep into politics,
mhm,
um, I wasn't at home actually when he left. He called me and told me he had to up and leave because otherwise he would have disappeared. Like all the stories that people hear about, it's actually true. That happens a lot in Zimbabwe. If you get involved in too deep, you just
mhm,
disappear. So he had to leave because he had just started a family. He had two daughters. Um, he had to leave the kids with my mom because he was with the kids while I was working in another province. And when I came back, everything was explained to me. It was it was hard. Um, and I also just had to make a decision to say, okay, either I go and join him or I stay and go in hiding or something. And I decided to join him, and that's how I found myself here.
Oh my word! And
Yeah.
how old was your kids back then?
Um, my first child was about 4 years old, and the second one was about 2 years old.
Sure.
So they were very young, very young.
So he basically had to escape for his life.
Yes, yes, he had to run with his life. I mean, who would want to die when you've just started a family? You just got married, and you know very well if they do get you, you are going to die. That's not something any young person will be looking forward to. I mean, so he had to up and leave, and I had to make that decision to say, okay, do I, if I still want a life with him, I had to join him. Otherwise, then maybe I'll have to say, okay, maybe you find your way, I'll find my way, and then maybe we do co-parenting from a distance, which is a bit difficult. So I decided, well, let me join him.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I didn't expect that. Sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of foreign women might have similar stories. I know some women are here for economic reasons, and I definitely wasn't here for economic reasons because I had a stable job. I worked for the government. I was employed by the government. So my coming here was actually quite easy. I didn't even need to have, like when you apply for a passport, it takes quite a while
Mm,
for you to get it. I
mm.
didn't need to go through that process because I was a government employee. I could just produce my payslip on the border with an emergency travel document, and they let me in. They gave me like 30 days, but I knew I wasn't going to go back because I was coming to
Oh,
join
okay.
my husband. So that's how I left my job, left the house, left everything to come and start from zero. Yeah.
So you just left everything there, took your kids, and then came.
I didn't even take my kids. I left my kids with my mom because I wasn't sure um, what I was going to find here in Cape Town. So I left my kids with my mom for a while. And when I arrived, I came and my husband was living in a shelter because he was robbed coming from work. When he got here, he got a job. He was working as a security, and he got robbed coming from work. They took everything. He was staying in, I don't know, Langa, Philippi, and he
Mm,
decided he wasn't going to go back there because it was dangerous. So he moved. He got assisted, I think, by some people, and then he ended up in a shelter. So when I arrived, I didn't know that was the situation. So the first month, I think for 3 weeks or so, we lived in a shelter in Weinberg, the Weinberg shelter. And then
mm,
after that, we managed to move. We got a house to rent in Strand. So we moved to the Strand and we stayed there for like a year. And while we were staying in Strand, um, I gave birth to my son. Um, and I think the following year, after I gave birth to my son was born in December 2007. The
mm.
following year, 2008, we had there was xenophobic attacks and people
Oh,
were
yes, I remember that time.
attacking
Yeah.
foreigners and all that. We were lucky because the lady we were renting from sort of tipped us off before we came from work. She said, "Listen, it's chaos here, but I will meet you somewhere, give you your child," because she was looking after our baby.
Okay.
Give you your child, and you need to go and find somewhere to go because really things are tense here. So that's how we moved from the Strand. Um, I remember it was at night, and I was terrified. Um, we had to take a night train from Strand to Cape Town. And then by that time, I was working in Weinberg. So I called the lady I was working for in Weinberg. I was working in a shop.
Mm.
Um, this is me, a teacher from Zimbabwe, coming to work as a shop assistant. I mean, so
Jesus.
I was working in the shop and I called her to say, listen, this is what's happening and I really need help. I just need a place to sleep and then I'll find my way tomorrow. Then she said, you can come and sleep in the shop. So she opened a shop for us. Um, me and my husband and my son, for that night, she gave us blankets. We slept in the shop. Then we had to find our way the following day, like start looking for a place again to stay. And then we managed to get a place where I'm living now. And we went back for the stuff that we had left in Strand, I think after about 2 weeks. My husband went back to collect whatever little belongings that we had acquired in that year. Um, yeah, that's the beginning of my story in Cape Town.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So your husband was part of politics. You were a teacher working for the government. Uh,
Yes.
because his life was in danger in Zimbabwe, you had to move. Then he got robbed. You guys had to stay in the shelter. And
Mm-hmm.
then after that, found a place. Then it was in a phobia. Then had
Yes.
to run again for your life.
Yep.
Stayed in the shop for however long. And
Yep.
then had to start all over again.
Yep. Yes. So it was with every, like every time that we had to move, it was almost reliving the trauma of having to run away and starting over and having to run away and start over. um it's hard, it's not easy, um because you're trying to settle down, organize your life, because you've got kids, you want you don't want to be just upping and going and starting over
Yeah.
every time. So
Yeah.
it was a little bit hard, the starting over, it, the trauma, and you never really get to deal with the trauma because there's no, um, we never received any counseling actually for that. So you sort of go along as you do your everyday life,
Mm,
um, hoping time would heal, time would sort of like ease the stress of the trauma,
mm.
um, which can be very difficult because you find you're snapping at each other even when the other person didn't do anything wrong. Um, it it was just hard.
I just wanted to ask you that question. How did you guys survive all of that? I mean, I would be a nervous wreck not having that stability for my children. Every time looking over my shoulders, checking if I'm still okay, and then still have to go and work, provide, live like normal. Um, how did you guys make it through?
Um, Let me say it's God, because really without God, it would have been like maybe way worse than what it is. Along the way, we met people who were kind enough to like really be there for us. Like the
Mm,
lady I worked for in the shop who gave us a place to stay for a few days while we were sorting ourselves out after the xenophobic attacks. I
mm,
also met, while I was working in the shop, I made friends. People used to come to the shop, and I would say, "Oh, I also do sewing on the side." And so I met this lady. Her name is Liesel van Zyl. We
mm,
became best friends. I would say she's one of the best friends I have now.
mm,
Um, she's been there, like when you just need time out, like when you just need somebody to talk to. She's been there. She's been, when someone is a real Christian and they practice their
mm,
Christianity to the core, that's
mm,
her. And she's been a very strong pillar, I would say. um, just encouraging me also to say, listen, God would not take you from a place and put you in a worse situation. If God
mm,
wanted you to not to survive, He would have left you where you were. The fact
mm,
that He brought you out of a worse off situation and brought you here, He has a plan for you. And just thinking of, or just knowing that God has a plan for my life,
mm,
and knowing that I have to be strong for the kids, knowing that I have to be strong so that they can have hope. I think
Mm.
that's sort of what gets me through.
What did all of this do to your self-esteem and like being a woman?
I would say at first it sort of killed me because I mean to move from a point where you had a house, you had everything, like literally everything, to a
Mm.
point where you have nothing. Um, it sort of kills you at first, and then
Mm.
after it sort of kills you, you have to decide now whether you want to stay in that valley
Mm.
or you dust yourself up
Mm.
and decide, okay, as long as I'm alive, that's another chance to make it right. That's another chance to maybe um, start afresh. So
Mm.
my self-esteem at some point, I can say I hit a very low point where I had no self-esteem at all. I didn't believe um, at some point I didn't believe I was worth anything. I remember while I was working in the shop, putting my CVs, going to different schools, and I'll be told, um, no, we want someone with South African experience. You've only taught in Zimbabwe. I remember at some point I taught at a school where I was given a class and I was given a tenth of the salary that the normal teacher gets. Um, that's how low my self esteem was. I could accept that just to survive. Um, and I think that was like my rock bottom. Um, where if somebody says maybe design this for me, I'll design, and then they might decide, okay, I'm not going to pay you what you asked. I will pay you what I think is worth, and I'll just accept. Which was, if when I look back, um, when I look back now, I think, oh, maybe it was God just testing testing my patience to see how
Mm.
far I can trust Him, um, because that was like a really low for me.
Sure. Do does foreign women get discriminated against a lot because of they are not from this country?
Yes, I can promise you, even now, where I'm working, I'm now working at a better school. Um, they kind of have an understanding, maybe because it's an inclusive school, or a
Mm.
full service school, so maybe that's why they are so accepting. In my previous school, um, it wasn't so easy. I was told to my face that you are lucky we gave you a job. At some point, I signed a blank contract, which I knew was not legal, but I couldn't challenge that because I needed the job. And this person was making me sign a blank contract, um, which I knew was illegal. I know she was taking some of the money for herself, and that's why she didn't want me to know how much was supposed to be in the contract in the first place. Um, so it's stories like that makes me think the discrimination is still very rife. And then you get also when you go to institutions like banks, you go with now we use a refugee status, which we got
Mm.
from Home Affairs, by the way. So we are legally in the country. We are legal. You go to banks, you want to ask for a loan. They tell you, sorry, we don't give people with this kind of paper. You need a South African ID. And then I ask myself, I've been living here for most of my adult life.
Mm.
Um, I'm 39. I've lived here for close to 16 years, 15 plus 15 years, almost 16 years. So I've lived here for most of my adult life. I'm a tax paying refugee. I pay my taxes. Why then can't you help me? It's almost like an institutionalized kind of discrimination. I would call it institutionalized xenophobia
Mm,
against women, foreign women. You find even if you want to start a small business,
mm,
you've got ideas, you've worked it out, and you know exactly, you know you can do this. You
mm.
approach people for funding and they tell you, oh, unfortunately, sorry, we don't deal with foreign women. They aren't a lot of organizations out there to help foreign women, so you're sort of on your own. You either make it or you don't.
Sure. How how do you still sound so positive?
um like I said before, I think um everything that I've gone through, um I just take it to say, if God didn't want me to go through this, He wouldn't bring me to it. If God didn't know that I would prevail, He wouldn't bring me through this. So mostly I would attribute everything to God. Um, and staying positive is the only thing you can do. I mean, if I'm to start wallowing in self pity, what kind of example am I going to set for my girls? I still want them to grow up and be strong, phenomenal women. So if I start showing weakness now, what kind of example am I giving them? What what am I saying about their future? Because it's already difficult as it is. If I tell you, for example, my first daughter wrote matric in 2019. She
Mm,
passed very well. And because we couldn't afford university and she
mm.
doesn't qualify for what is that, NSFAS,
Bursaries.
the
Yeah.
bursaries, she had to stay at home for a full year while we try to save up or whatever. And with COVID 19, whatever side gigs you think you can do to get more
Yeah.
money and raise funds for varsity, it's hard. So it's, if I think of her and I think, okay, if I start losing it,
Mm,
how will she end up? What will become of her? So I can't lose it. I have to sort of keep it together and just stay positive. Otherwise, w- what? How will they cope if I start
mm.
showing any sign of weakness?
Sure. Is there any support like for foreign women? You said you didn't receive counseling and things like that. So obviously counseling is out. Is there any other support for foreign women?
I suppose there is. I don't know, but maybe in like very exceptional circumstances. I've approached organizations like the Cape Town Refugee Center.
Yeah.
I have approached organizations like the Scalabrini in um, it's in Cape Town CBD.
Okay.
Um, the only response I got from them was, oh, we only deal with refugees who have just arrived in the country. We help them with resettling. That's all. Nothing to do with counseling, nothing to do with I mean, the counseling is very important because just getting through everyday life is hard. It is hard. Um, and they didn't offer much support. At some point, when I was struggling with the Department of Education, my salary was delayed for like 3 months. When I renewed my permit, and they said they were verifying the permit, so I had to stay 3 months without a salary. And I mean, in this day and age, who can stay 3 months without a salary? I, I had to do it. I had to sell off some things just to keep going. Um, when I approached some of those organizations, they say to me, "Oh, you're lucky you still have a job. We only deal with refugees who've just arrived in the country, and you've been here for quite some time, so there's really nothing much we can do for you. And that's just how it is.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. I've lost all my questions. I am I'm astounded. I am astounded of what you've went through already. And I mean, we've heard stories on this platform about women, but I think you just
Mm.
stopped them. You just stopped them all right now. Um, maybe let's do this. Do you
Hmm.
also find there's a lot of bias when it comes to women and foreign women?
Yes, I think a lot of people seem to think when they see women, especially foreign women, um, without understanding what brought them here, people usually have these assumptions that, oh, maybe they came here for prostitution, they came here for this, which is usually not the case. If you take time to actually listen to people's stories, you'll find there are lots of different reasons why the women are finding themselves here. um so there is like a lot of bias against foreign women because people don't take time to understand what's the story behind the person. um and usually most of the and people just assume, oh, maybe all foreign women they stand on the street corner and ask people, can I plait your hair? Or maybe all foreign women do not work. They just wait for their husbands to come and bring the money, which is actually not the case in most cases. Because it's hard. Most foreign women are trying their best to support their husbands who can't get, maybe sometimes they can't get employment. Now you have to kind of balance between helping your partner and finding food for the kids, um, which is an everyday struggle for, I think, most of the women in South Africa.
I hear you. Okay.
Mm.
So where we should have supported you, we actually you're already low and we kind
Mm.
of stomp you down two more steps down.
Yep.
Um in your plight in just being a woman.
Yeah. And you always have to sort of like um, work twice as hard to prove yourself, to
Mm,
prove that you're genuine, to prove that you can deliver. I find even at work where I'm working now, I always have to constantly um, prove myself that I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm dealing with. Or even sometimes, let's say, even when you know the subject content that people are talking about and you want to give
mm,
advice, the fact that you're a foreign woman, it's you are always second guessed as if maybe your input is not good enough. So you always
mm,
have to work twice as hard. This is why I have also just um, told myself I have to keep studying. Um, this is what motivates me to keep studying, um, because I know if I remain with the same qualifications that I arrived with from Zimbabwe,
mm,
everybody will still be saying no because this is what how you were taught in Zimbabwe, but this is how we do things here. So
mm,
the more I keep studying and learning in universities here, the more I feel I'm confident enough to say if a person challenges maybe my idea, I would say, but
mm,
listen, I've also studied here, and I think
mm.
things should be done this way. And sometimes you
Sure.
find you might be more qualified than the person who's challenging your
Mm,
opinion, and you tell yourself, well, because I'm a foreigner, maybe I'll
mm.
just have to sit this one out or just keep quiet for the sake of progress, you know?
Sure. I mean that's I get we all go through that kind of like I need to prove my worth and who I am. But I kind of sense when it comes to foreign women, it becomes just a tad bit more
More.
difficult. Yeah,
Yes, yes, so
because
true.
you always working, you always two steps back with you are a foreign woman. Even before
Yes,
you've opened your mouth, you are,
yes,
yeah. So your intelligent is always your intelligence, your mindset, everything is always judged because you are a foreign woman.
so
So it's
true.
not listening to the person. It's always like that is who you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. How does your daughter, because I expect she's a bit younger. Yes, you said she matriculated in 2019. How does she deal with this pressure?
um, I think in a way, she is sort of like learning from the way I react to things or the way I deal with things. She's a very positive person, also very God fearing. I think
Mm,
having God on your side kind of puts everything into perspective to
mm,
say, in whatever you go through, because you know there's God, you kind of you kind of understand, even if it's the most terrible thing, you kind of
mm,
find a way of understanding
mm,
whatever that you're going through at that moment. um she's, I would say, growing into a strong woman herself.
mm.
She's started her own little organization called Way
Okay.
To.
Okay.
She does talks with different women. Way To, as in WETU. She talks to
Okay.
different women. It's called Women Empowering. I forgot the other. Sorry, but it's about women empowerment. So I think she's
Okay.
learning also little bits from what she's seeing from me and what
Mm,
she's seeing around, to the women that she's exposed to, maybe from church or from the
yeah.
community. So yeah,
Mm,
taking it one day at a time.
mm.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are. I always thought like I am positive and like I keep the faith in all of these things, but I think you guys have taken it to another level. And I understand it's your relationship with God. And I
Mm.
oftentimes think, look, oh, I'm taking my life. If something happens, you automatically it brings you down. It's like, God, why? We you guys have taken the opposite approach. It's like there must be a reason for this.
Yeah.
There must be a reason why you're taking me through this, else you wouldn't have. And you kind of just grow through it. For the whole month of August, we've kind of talked about that you don't just go through circumstances and things, you kind of grow through it. But
Mm.
tonight, we actually got an example of how you grow through it and not just go
Yep.
through it. So that is amazing because I often also time think the way we kind of live our life, it's pointing fingers and don't take accountability and things. You guys almost do not have that luxury
That's a
to
luxury. Yes.
point
Yes.
fingers, and
Mm-hmm.
everything is being turned back to what am I gonna do, how am I gonna take this, how what am I gonna learn from this. And it's actually making you guys stronger, I guess, through this.
Yes. Like the sayings goes, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. It's so
Yeah.
true. It's so
Yeah.
very true. I see it in my case. Um, with everything that I've gone through, um, I don't think there's anything that can come and shock me and like really knock me off.
Mm,
Um, because I really believe if it doesn't kill you, it just makes you stronger. You just grow from it, you learn from it. If you meet something like that again, you now know how to handle it.
mm, mm. And I mean, your faith must be top level. I don't know what level you're at, but I think it's like a top level. And because I really think we oft like if I just look at our community and where we go through, we become angry um to a point of where our anger is killing us from the inside out, which I found
Yes.
very weird with you. I don't hear that.
Um,
Maybe you hide it very well, but I don't hear that.
but who would I be angry with? I mean, if I look at my South African colleagues, sometimes I feel there's that sense of entitlement to say I'm owed this. But with me, I don't have that because I mean I'm the foreigner here.
Mm,
I'm the odd one out here. So I cannot even say anybody owes me anything. I know I have to like work for everything. I have to
sure.
find a way to get whatever I'm going to get in life. Um I cannot even go to anyone and say it is my right,
Mm,
because in a way you kind of, when you're a foreign woman, it's almost like um your rights are not as equal.
sure.
So you know,
Yeah.
you just have to make do with whatever is thrown at you. If you get
Mm,
lemons, make lemonade.
yeah. So everyone is higher than you guys, and then foreign women people is like at the
Yeah,
bottom.
yep. Second class citizens all the way.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me just say that I was not prepared for all of this. Um, yeah, I wasn't prepared for all of this. Um, what does it still mean for you then to be a woman in this day and age?
For me, it means a lot. Being a woman in this day and age, for me, it means a lot of responsibilities. It means having a lot of faith in God, because um, a lot of the times when you can't explain things, when you can't explain situations, um, you only find your solace in God. So, being a woman in this day and age, in as much as we can talk of women empowerment, women um, making strides in progressing women into more prominent positions, um, as a foreign woman, we are like way off the mark. We are like way off the mark of where, when we talk about progressing and women empowerment. Because I mean, if it's hard for women in South Africa already who are South African citizens,
Mm,
what more me? um I think for me, being a woman is just about um keeping the faith
mm,
and being strong to take on whatever responsibilities that are thrown at you.
mm. So, what it comes down to, the only thing you have right now is God.
Yes. You know, when you get to a point in life where you've lost everything and you know you can't lose anymore, um,
Mhm,
you get to a point where trusting God is the only thing, because you know he's the only person who has never failed you in life. So your trust in God kind of grows, and as it grows, it's your faith also just becomes stronger, because you've hit rock bottom. I mean, you can't go there, there's
mm,
no other bottom. You're already
mm,
at the bottom, so you
mm,
can only trust that God will make you rise from there, going up.
mm. Yeah. It's, you know what I find funny? Not like funny, haha, but funny.
Mm,
Is tonight, we had our service, and then in the service, they asked us to recommit to God. Like your
mm.
answer always being yes. And the funny person that I am in the relationship I have with God, I was like, Yes, sometimes. I was standing there, I was like, because they said you must stand up. I was like, um, yes, sometimes, because I know who you are and I know what you're gonna ask me, and then I'm gonna have I now already made like a commitment with saying yes all the time. So I was like,
Yes,
yes,
sometimes because you want to
sometimes.
have that other
Yeah.
time where you
Yes.
didn't want to.
Yeah. I wanna have my loophole, you see? So I was like, no, no, yes, sometimes. Uh and now I'm sitting here and I'm like, yes, I have met someone
It has to be all the time.
who has actually said yes always, and it hasn't
Yes.
killed you yet.
No, I haven't died. I'm still alive, and I think looking at my journey from 2006 2006 2007 when we started in Cape Town, and looking at where I am now, I promise you, in whatever situation I've gone through, even at times when I didn't believe God was with me, when I look back now, I can promise you God has been there every step of the way. Even when I left, at some point I taught at a school here in Artery called Junior College, and my living there wasn't a very nice. When you leave and you still feel justice wasn't done, it's
Mm,
because I had spoken up against something that had happened, um, that I wasn't happy with. And they
mm,
told me, you either take it or leave it. And I said, I'm leaving. So I upped and left, not knowing what I was going to be doing the following day, because I still needed money for nappies. I still
mm,
needed money for milk. I left in the middle of the month.
mm.
Um, that was the craziest moment. Then I left. It was November, mid November. They called me 2 weeks later and said, listen, come and get your salary. Do you still want to come back? I said, no, I don't want to come back. Even though I didn't know where I was going to work the following year or how I was going to survive. Um, so I was sitting at home, and I mean, it's December, schools have closed, and I started sending my CVs out, but schools had already closed.
Yeah.
Um, and it so happened, I don't know, Sonnebloom Girls put an advert, and it was in the middle of the December holiday, and I didn't believe they were actually like going to be doing interviews. Um, then they said, "Can you come for an interview? We want to appoint someone before we close for Christmas." And I thought, but schools are closed.
Mm,
So I went in, and there were two of us,
mm,
and the two people who had come for the interview, we were all like foreign women.
mm.
Lucky for me, I had taught foundation phase in the
Okay.
school that I had just left. So the other lady, she hadn't taught in South Africa at all. I had
Sure.
taught at this school where I felt I wasn't treated right and blah 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 blah. And then they said, no, we want somebody with experience teaching foundation phase in this country, so we're going to go with you. I said, thank you, Lord. I said, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. And then when I came home, I told my husband I got the job. He said,
Mm,
but it's December. School's only open in January. I said, well, I got the job. They
mm,
made me sign the contract to say you can't go and look for another job because we are giving you this job. I mean, that's
mm.
how God has worked in my life.
Sure.
Even when I left Sonnebloom Girls to go to St. Paul's, I worked a long time at St. Paul's. It was also kind of a similar thing where I
Mm,
left and felt, no, man, why am I being given this amount when everybody else is getting this amount?
mm,
Um, what's different? Because I'm offering the same service. So
mm,
shouldn't I be given exactly the same as everybody else?
mm,
And when I opened my big mouth again, things went sour and I had to leave. Um, and God has been there. Ever since I started with when I started teaching in Cape Town, every year God kind of just provides from the one place to the next to the next. There wasn't a situation where I said, I'm staying at home, I don't have a job, and I don't even know when I'll get the next job. God has sort of made the chain, He sort of creates the links before,
Mm,
way before time. He made me meet people who knew people and
mm,
gave me contacts to say, it's sort of everything is sort of interlinked, even the job I'm doing today. Um, I was working at St. Paul's and I was given this huge task. So at St. Paul's, there's like a tradition where the new teacher who comes in gets to be the coordinator of the school-based support team. Because
okay.
if you are coordinating that committee, you are supposed to make sure that no child fails. You must give if there's extra
Okay.
help that's needed. So it's almost
Mm,
like a baptism when you're the new teacher. When they do their
mm,
committees allocation, you're sort of baptized into that. So I was baptized into that, and I had no clue
mm,
what to do. Um, then I went and did my research, and I thought, okay, this is what's expected, but it's such a huge role. Why will they give it to someone like me?
mm,
Shouldn't they take someone more experienced? And
mm,
all these thoughts went through my head, and then I told myself, maybe it's God. He wants to see how far
mm,
I can take
mm,
this. So I did my research and I started inviting people who could help. And
mm,
luckily, people just like you approach people and they'll say, okay, would love to help. Then they'll come
mm,
through. And then from there, they kind of noticed that I had a passion for what I was doing, helping
mm,
these learners who were struggling in class. Then they
mm.
asked me, are you the HOD? Are you who? What portfolio do you hold at school? I said, no, I'm just a new teacher. And they said, well, you've got so much passion for what you're doing. Then I
Mm,
said, well, that's what I studied for, but I never
mm.
really got a chance to practice it. Now
Okay.
that I've been given this portfolio, I feel I can now put it into practice. Um, and from there, those people said, well, we want you to come and work for us. And this was when I was told the Department of Western Cape Education doesn't want to
Mm.
employ foreigners. And
Sure.
the people that were now telling me we want you to come and work for us are people
Mm.
from the department that I was
Department.
told, no, they don't want foreigners. The department doesn't want foreigners.
Mm.
Surprise, surprise. It sort of just linked me to my next and from there to my next.
Sure.
So I can only say it's been God taking me from the one place to the next, just being there for me.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a you have a testimony. But anyway, before we get too emotional, um, do you want to end off with a statement before we talk about your business?
Okay, a
Mm,
statement to all the women listening.
mm,
Um, I know people say don't put all your eggs in one basket, but I would say put all your eggs in one basket, and that basket is Jesus. Um, he will never fail you. Um,
sure.
if you are Muslim and you are listening to this, yes, we might call God in different names. We might say we believe in different things, but ultimately we all believe there's a God somewhere. Whether it's a traditional God, it's a Muslim God, it's a Christian God, put all your eggs in that one basket. He will never fail you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about your business. What do you do?
Okay. So my side gig, like I
Mm,
said, it's called Rue Legacy.
okay.
Um, I design clothes for women,
Mm-hmm.
specialize in African print. Um,
Ooh.
it all started as a You know, big women struggle to find clothes in shops, and
Have
myself
we
being
lost? Can
big.
you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. You just went quiet there for a little bit. Just start again. How did it start?
So it started with me. I couldn't find clothes that fit me in the shops, being big
Mm-hmm.
and all. If it fit
Mm.
at the bottom, it didn't fit on top. If it fits on top, then it doesn't fit at the bottom. So,
Our
ah,
struggle.
yes. So I decided, okay, why do I waste money
Mm.
if at the end of the day I still take these clothes to somebody to fix it somehow so that it can fit?
Uh,
And
uh-huh.
I decided, okay, I'm going to start making clothes for myself. And that's how
Uh,
it started. So it started with making stuff for myself, and then people would see it and say, "Oh, where did you get that?" And I'll say, "I
mm,
made it." Then they say, "Can you make something for me?" And
uh,
and then that's how it
yeah.
just started.
Uh.
It grew from there.
I would love to see some of your work. You must actually send me a few pictures of your work. Um,
Okay, I will after.
Definitely, because yeah, I am an African girl. I love my African attires. So
Okay.
yeah, and big is beautiful, but sometimes it doesn't fit in the clothes. Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's our struggle. So definitely, if we ever hook up, why not?
Yes. Why not? I mean,
Why not? Why not?
I think
Yeah.
a lot of women struggle with that. I so wish shops could cater for bigger women, you know?
Whew. And these pundus doesn't fit in anywhere. It
You need to
just,
package it very well.
hey, I tell you,
Yeah, I
it,
know.
it, it needs a specific package. It doesn't
Yeah,
just fit. Yes,
it's
yes. It
not a
must be
one
a,
size fits all.
it's
It's
not
a
that
specific.
postnet things.
Yep.
So definitely. Yes. So if we have a hookup with people that knows the package, why not?
Yes. Why not?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you must definitely send me some of your pictures. I am very interested. And I mean, I don't actually know what to say, say to you. It's I am I think what tonight is, it's a well rounded story of what we've been talking about for Women's Month. But instead of just talking about it, you've actually
Mm,
walked the walk already.
yeah. Mm.
So for the
I'm still
whole
walking
month,
the walk. I'm not yet there. Still walking the walk.
ooh,
Yep.
but you're very far already. We are still like, yeah, we yeah. So I mean, we have been saying for August month, find your voice. And there is power in your voice,
Yes.
which is a contradiction to what you've told us. You're like, I know my power. I
Mm-hmm.
was just never allowed to tell or say, because people have told me, because I'm a foreign woman, my voice doesn't have power.
Yes.
And then you went another route and you said, um, okay, so that is what you say, but this is what God says of me. And so I will
Mm.
do it this way.
Yes.
Amazing. And so it blows my mind. You know
Thank you
what?
that I could blow your mind.
You know what you are? You are that thing, like I said, when they said tonight, stand up and say, I commit, right? We
Mm.
oftentimes, it's like, you fingers crossed while you say that. I'm like, I commit only.
90%?
That's
No,
that's too
you have to
much.
do it.
That's too much. Come down to 80. Come down to 80%. But what you've been tonight is an example of commitment, endurance,
Mm.
this thing inside of you where it's like, I will go on. I will not be moved. I will not be
Mm.
stopped. And even if it's not for me, I have eyes looking at me, telling
Yes.
me I need to show, I need to do better. If not for me. for them.
For them.
Um,
Yes.
so you almost what you have done for women tonight is we have no more excuses. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Because that is how
Yeah,
I feel. I'm like,
I don't think we should give ourselves room to make excuses, because
hmm,
the minute you have that room to make excuses, I think it's natural to want to fall back into that room, you know. Um, when you don't have that room, then you don't have a choice but to just be, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like we are in the plane. We're gonna go skydive. You have no. We are still all in the plane thinking
Mm-hmm.
about it. So the plane has made
Mm-hmm.
like 50 loops already.
Yep.
And we're like, no, next time when it comes around, I'm going to do it. No, next time when I come around, I'm going to do it. I think we just lost a little bit. Um, but she has kind of lost that opportunity. It was, here's the plane, you were going to jump. And she did it. There's a, a lovely poem um, that says something about flying. Um, what if I fall or something is the poem's name.
Sorry,
Okay,
I
I
just
think we
lost you there for a moment.
yes, I was explaining the plane
You were saying
situation.
the plane, yes.
Yes, and where you kind of in your situation there was you got in once you got to a height, people threw you out.
Yes.
See what you can do. So there was
Mm-hmm.
no I must still find I must still I was like while I'm
No
smart,
excuses.
yeah, I'm gonna pull some of the ducks down and help me to fly, but I'm gonna make a way.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I was trying to find this poem, and I will try and find it. But there was a poem that says, almost like I'm standing here and I don't want to jump because what if I fall? And at
Uh-huh.
the end, the poem says, "What if you fly?" Um,
Yes.
and so we always standing on the edge. What if I fall? What if I fall? But tonight you've showed us, what if I
What
fly?
if you fly? Yeah.
What then? Um, so you have been, I think you've been a listen to me. I can't speak to the other woman, but you've definitely been a listen to me. I get
Thank
very
you.
stubborn at times. I know what my potential is,
Mm-hmm.
but I always fall back on that. Why? Why me? It's like I'm in the battle. I'm there. I'm in front. And I've been told that I must do something. Then I look back to the other people. I'm like, can't you ask one of
Why
them?
should it be me?
Why are you just looking at me? Ask them. They're all here. Like, ask them. That is what I've been doing for most of my life. And so
Mm,
I think I have pushed myself back, way back, way in the line because I have the opportunity of making an excuse. And like, I can't, the house, the kids,
mm-hmm.
the this, the that.
Yes.
And you have showed me tonight what it means if I just put all my eggs in the basket and go for it.
Yep.
Like you've lost the house, you had to leave your kids somewhere for a while, you had to run for your life more than
Yes.
once.
Yes.
And here you are, positive as positive can be, as a positive battery can be. You are sitting
Because I had
here
no choice.
because you had no choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I can't speak for other women, but we must really, there's no more excuses. That's a lesson
There's
I've learned
none.
from you. There's no more excuses. You're either gonna be who you need to be,
Yes.
and
Or
that's
you
it.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no more excuses. So thank you for being that lesson to me tonight. if you haven't done anything else, that is what you have been. And I've been in church today. Like I said, I dodged that
Mm.
question. Um,
Where you don't want to commit
mm-mm.
all
S-
all of you.
yeah, and so now tonight I get the person who has committed all of them. It's like God is very funny.
Yeah,
So it's like, excuse me, just see ya. And then yeah, so
I'm
yeah,
glad. I'm glad.
yeah.
And thank
I
you for
know at times you probably don't feel this person I've put on the pedestal tonight, but oftentimes we want to save the whole world, but it's just
yeah.
that one person, that
Mm.
one person. And yeah, I think you've done your job tonight. Yeah, you've done it. You did.
Thank you.
So I'm yeah, yeah. This interview was not what I expected it to be. But I'm thankful
Oh,
for it. I am. I'm really thankful for it. Thanks for your voice. And
thank you for
I
the
think
opportunity to
yeah,
just have my say my
thanks
story.
thanks for your I mean thanks for living through your story, if not anything. Thanks for living through your story. But I think the thing that is nice, that keeps me, is that hope that you still have, that radiance you still have, that forgiveness that you still have. Uh, yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time tonight.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And on that note, voor us allemaal in trane is, now I don't like crying. Before we all in tears, we're gonna rather say good night.
Mm.
Um, and thank you for this wonderful soul yet again. Ending of Women's Month, telling us that there is no more excuses for not being who you are supposed to be. Even if you
Yes.
find it super difficult to do it for yourself, think about the next generation. And
Yes.
for next year, August 2022, we don't want to talk about the same things about finding your voice. You have a year to practice finding your voice. Next year, we want to have a panel full of youth that said, thank you for you guys in 2021 that found your voice, because that gave us the opportunity to find our voice. En so ons wil nie meer met almal die ou vrouens sit nie. We want a panel of young women. Your daughter needs to be on
Yes.
here next year saying, because of my mom and what
Mm-hmm.
she has done, I am here in 2022. Found my voice, know my voice, appreciate my voice. I'm there because of
Yes.
you and what you have done, that there is no more excuses. You
Yes.
are, yeah, thank you. I have no other voice but to say thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be
Yeah.
part of your show.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to have you back again. I'm sure we are. But thank
Okay.
you for your opportunity and your time and just your life. That's it. Thanks for your life and listening when you needed to listen and doing when you needed to do. Thanks for that.
Mm.
Yeah. So with that, ons gaan nie early. No, we're not gonna cry tonight. We want to say good night. We want to say thank you, and we will have tomorrow night. We have an off day, the 31st of August. We are ending the month of August. Then there's no more Women's Month. Eh? You had your month, people. Say goodbye to it. September month is the new month. Then you need to get over this Women's Month. So you have 2 more days of glory and bliss in Women's Month, and then we're ending it off, and then we're saying thank you to every woman that has taken the time off to come onto the show and tell their stories. Um, You have saved so many women. You have brought back zeal and joy in so many women. You have allowed them to tell their stories, which is so much more than you would think. And out there, another woman's going to listen to your story and say, if she can, why not me?
Then I can. Yeah.
Then that was the ultimate. We didn't want to save anyone. We just wanted to give everyone an ear, an opportunity to tell their stories so that the next woman can say, I have a similar story. I also want to tell my story. And that is how we're going to build the nation. So, with that, we say thank you, good night, stay blessed, keep warm, keep sane, and enjoy the rest of your night. Bye.
Bye.